So today, we're going to dive into a pretty amazing story about how one innovator's journey is helping reshape the entire future of hearing. We're talking about moving away from this kind of one-size-fits-all model of audiology to something with incredible precision. Let's follow the path from a really frustrating problem to a truly groundbreaking solution.
And really, it all kicks off with this simple but super powerful motivation from Raul Sanchez Lopez. You see, this isn't about building cool tech just for the sake of it. It's about having a deep-seated purpose, a drive to actually improve how people connect with the world and with each other.
Okay, so where does a journey like this even begin? Well, for Raul, it started with a big leap, from being a hands-on clinical audiologist in Spain to becoming a pioneering researcher in Denmark, which is a real hub for innovation in hearing.
But let me tell you, this was not an easy road. To make that jump from the clinic to the research lab, he had to overcome some massive barriers. I mean, think about it. He had to learn English and then get a 7-year engineering degree, all while working and taking care of his sick father. That's some serious dedication. But that perseverance is what eventually led him to Denmark, putting him right at the heart of hearing innovation, where he could work with the top universities and manufacturers in the field.
In all that drive, all that hard work, it was all pointed at tackling one of the most common and, frankly, most frustrating problems in audiology. It's a problem that pretty much every patient and clinician knows all too well.
All right, let's bring this home for a second. I want you to think about something. You know that feeling? You're in a busy restaurant or a loud party. You can hear everything. The music, people laughing, the clatter of plates, but the words someone is saying right to your face, they just turn into mush. You can't quite grasp them.
Well, that feeling right there, that is a massive challenge in audiology. It's the classic complaint, I can hear just fine, I just can't understand. And the real kicker? A standard hearing test, the one they do in a perfectly quiet room, often comes back saying everything's normal, completely missing this very real struggle people have out in the wild.
So you've got this huge gap between the test results in the clinic and what people actually experience in their daily lives. And that is exactly what spurred the development of a brand new, groundbreaking tool.
It's called the Audible Contrast Threshold Test, or ACT for short. So, what's the secret sauce here? Well, instead of using words, which can be tricky for a lot of reasons, it uses a really unique sound stimulus to pinpoint the exact threshold where a person can pick a signal out from the background noise. It's all about precision.
And the benefits here are honestly a game changer. First off, the sounds are tailored to your specific hearing profile, so you can always, actually hear them. It also doesn't use speech, so it doesn't matter what language you speak, which is huge. Plus, it's super fast. We're talking less than 2 minutes. And this is the big one. It finally puts a real hard number on that vague, I can't understand problem. That means the results are quantifiable and can be used right away to personalize a hearing aid. And you gotta love this part. Behind all this amazing science is this little moment of human creativity. It was Raul's idea to make the test sound like ocean waves. And that little idea, scribbled on a Post-it note, it's apparently still stuck to the wall in the research unit. It's just a great reminder that sometimes huge innovations start with a simple, inspired thought. How cool is that?
Okay, so inventing a new test is amazing, right? But that was just one piece of the puzzle. The next big question was, how can we change the whole system to make this expert care more efficient and get it to more people?
And this is where things get really smart. Think about the old way. The audiologist is sitting there manually running every single test. Now, with an automated version, they call it the user-operated ACT or UACT, the patient can actually operate the test themselves. The expert is freed up from the mechanical stuff to focus on what really requires their skills, tricky cases, counseling, and truly personalizing the care.
So how much time are we talking about? 20 minutes. Now, 20 minutes might not sound like a lot, but think about it. That's 20 minutes of an expert's time saved for every single patient. In a busy clinic, or especially in a public health system with huge waiting lists, those 20 minutes add up to hours and hours every single day. That's a massive impact.
And this is a really important point to make. This is not about replacing audiologists. It's about empowering them. It's about giving them a tool to handle the repetitive, mechanical parts of the job so they can use their time, their expertise, and their empathy on the parts that truly matter, the patient.
So all this focus on getting better data and being more efficient, it naturally leads to an even bigger idea, a fundamental shift in how we think about hearing care altogether.
We're talking about a shift from the old model to something called precision audiology.
The old way was kind of like a one-size-fits-all t-shirt. You got one test, the audiogram, and they'd use a sort of magic formula to fit your hearing aid, and then it was all trial and error from there. This new model, though, which was a huge focus of a big Danish research project called BEAR, is all about creating a complete, detailed profile for each patient using lots of different data points. This lets clinicians spot different subgroups of patients and then build proactive, tailored solutions for each one.
The goal here is really simple, but it's also incredibly profound. Let's stop treating all hearing loss as if it's the same problem. Instead, let's figure out what each unique group of patients actually needs. Maybe it's different tech, maybe it's a different kind of counseling. It's about getting personal with the solution.
Okay, so when you start talking about being this data-driven and personal, what's the next logical step? Well, you guessed it, artificial intelligence. But not as a replacement, more like a collaborator.
And I love how Raul puts it. He says, look, the technology can't do this alone. For real change to happen, you need people. You need the politicians, the clinicians, the hospitals. AI is just a tool. It's a powerful one, for sure, but it's a partner that needs human guidance and purpose.
And if we're going to trust AI in something as important as our health, there have to be some ground rules, right? These are kind of the non-negotiables. First, companies have to be transparent about how their AI models work. Next, a human being, a real person, has to be the one who's ultimately accountable for any decision. We should also use AI because it actually helps, not just because it's the cool new thing. And of course, the whole system is only as good as the data you feed it. Garbage in, garbage out.
And all of this kind of brings us to one last big picture question. As this kind of technology gets better and better, maybe the whole goal starts to shift. What if the future of hearing isn't just about fixing a problem, but about enhancing communication for everyone? What if it's about helping all of us connect better in this crazy, noisy world we all live in?